And I said, no, but that's a nice ski mask you're wearing. Oh, my goodness. Welcome to the PP1 Podcast. We are closing down the joint tonight at deanblundell.com and all the places you'd find Dean and his great stuff. I was just on the Playoff Pricks playoff show. It was an absolute disaster, and I loved it. We had some Leafs guys on there, and they're really touchy. But that's okay. Boys, the season is done. It's over. The pain has finally come to an end. But first and foremost, how's everybody doing? How are we all feeling? Ted, you get to start today. How are you feeling? How is the postmortem?
I don't know. I don't know if I'm there yet that the pain is over with. I think the pain could just be coming down the pipe now. Now it's been an open wound for the all season, and it's about to get ripped wide open. So we'll see. Other than that, it's the long weekend coming up. So I don't know about you guys, but I am stoked for that.
Very, very. Brady, obviously you're stoked for the long weekend. I mean, it's supposed to rain here. I'd assume it's raining over in Burnaby. But what's going on, man? It's been a week.
Yeah, what's up, guys? I am in the final week of school, so definitely looking forward to the long weekend and have a bit of a break here. So, yeah, definitely excited about that. And honestly, excited the Canucks season's over. Like, to be honest, it's been pretty tough watching these final games. So glad to get a break from them too. It's been a grind for sure, Ted. You're right.
Yeah. Do you listen to Schools Out for Summer when you're done?
Not anymore. But maybe I'll do that this year. It's been a good decade since I've been in school, so we'll see.
I cranked that for my kids last day when we're driving to school, and Schools Out. I mean, they're 10 and 7, but they get the feel. They get the vibe.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure.
They know what's up. They know that it's over. It's time to party out. But I think, Ted, you're right. The wound it's still fresh, but there's some closure to the season. It's done. All the pain that we had to endure, all the COVID break, the fact they shouldn't have been playing in the first place. Then they did. Then they got COVID. Then we said they shouldn't be playing. And then
they lit it up for 2 games.
Then they lit it up. And then, before that, JT Miller came out and basically said, what are we doing? And then they sucked really, really badly, mostly, I think, because of COVID.
It didn't help.
No. But now that's over, maybe let's just do a quick roundtable of what does your season recap feel like? Brady, just give me your 2 bits on how this season went, and is there a high, a low, maybe just a recap?
I mean, as a fan, I'm feeling pretty low on the season altogether. But that being said, I mean, there are parts of this year where, as bad as it was, I mean, there were reasons for it too. The schedule at the beginning of the season was not pretty. Then the team was hit by COVID, and again, followed by another schedule that was very unpretty as well. So, I mean, all in all, the team definitely took some steps back. But I mean, like I said earlier, I'm glad it's over. I think a lot of people are feeling that way. I think it's time for some change, some real change.
That's promising if change actually does happen. I think that's what we all want. I really wonder if we get change. Ted, what's your recap? How are you feeling?
I mean, I think we're all kind of down a little bit, right? I mean, but I think if there's some things I can take away, there are some positives. I mean, it was Thatcher Demko's coming out party. That was great.
Yeah.
Brock is back.
He is back.
That was great.
Love it.
Bo, I think, continued his ascension into a great leader on this team and an everyday performer. JT Miller looks like the real deal. It's very apparent to me that this team needs PD more than ever with him not being there. To me, I think this season is set up for Quinn Hughes to go flying into next season and just take things over. Some promising players like Rathbone was a lot of fun to watch in the back half of the season. So those are the positives. But this to me was like another season of missteps, weird roster decisions, strange mistakes. The Toffoli signing going all the way back, strange coaching decisions, front office moves, things like that. And I think just a general lack of direction. I don't know about you guys, but I said this earlier in the season where I just didn't know what the plan is. And I think here we are at the end of the season, not game 82, but you know what I mean. And I still don't know. I don't know what this team's identity is. I don't know what this team's plan is. So I'm concerned, obviously, heading into the draft and next free agency, what they're going to do with the rest of these rosters, because there's some huge implications that are going to come up in the offseason, especially with some dudes that need to be resigned.
I agree. Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head with the Toffoli thing. That still lives rent-free in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
It was just one of those things where it was so easy to make that happen. And then it's like, a dog seeing a squirrel, and all of a sudden Ekman Larson comes up, and, now they're thinking, oh, we can go after him. And it just...
It's a great analogy.
There were so many things that could have happened that really would have made life a little bit easier. I mean, this wasn't exactly going to be a growing year. I mean, growth in the sense where, we can finally get back and, maybe challenge going in every year for a playoff spot. But that was the first thing that really fell. And then, like, with Green not having a contract now for the entire season, which is like balls crazy.
It's weird, right?
Jim Benning, like the banner, the fire Benning, like all of that. I mean, that's continued on, but it really, came to a head as well. You see, like, there's been a lot of off the ice stuff, like the Jake Virtanen thing, like that's going to loom large, I think, now that the off season is upon us. The fact that they won just enough. I mean, whatever, who cares about the draft position? Like, this season was it was a write-off anyway. But just so many little things going on, how they handled Mike DiPietro, how they like, just so many things. And you wish that they could have, Ted, you're right, like, had some kind of direction, like some kind of, leadership from the very top. I mean, we're still guessing going into the outro tomorrow, like the postseason presser with Green and maybe Benning better be there. But it sounds like the Sedins may be there as well. But we have no idea what's going on. Like, I couldn't tell you, and I know you guys couldn't. Tomorrow, when they have that presser, we have no idea what they're going to talk about.
Who knows?
About a new coach, new goalie coach. Like, Thatcher Demko is having to go and plead through the media that he wants a goalie coach back. They get JT Miller to go and make the comment about we shouldn't be playing. They've got Travis Green being the head guy to talk about the Virtanen thing when it clearly should have been someone way higher than that. Like, all the wrong people are being put in charge to talk about really important stuff. And then after all that happens, where are the Canucks still? They are in a world of hurt.
They're rudderless.
Yeah. So, like, now what? Like, what do we do now? What's the next step for this team? Brady, like, what do you think is going to be the next thing that happens?
Oh man, there's just so much to unpack. Like, if you really think about it, like, you named off how many things? The list just keeps going.
That wasn't even all the things.
I missed part. I missed
Gaudette. That was a weird thing.
Oh, dude, there's so many things. We can rattle them off. Just keep going and going. But
Holtby, that was a weird thing.
Yeah.
I just think
that was a weird thing. Sorry, Brady, go ahead.
No, I think as a fan, just like there's never been so much uncertainty. Like, I just don't really know what to think right now. And I don't really know what to think going into next season. And I mean, I keep saying this, but I'm looking forward to this break. Like, I'm looking forward to not having to think about it for a little bit.
Breathe, right?
Yeah, because it's been kind of overwhelming. So, I mean, I'm not really sure what's next. I'm glad I'm not the guy figuring that out. But it's definitely, Aquilini's got to figure out what the hell they're doing. And I think, Ted, you want to take it from here?
No, I'm with you. That's the thing, right? I think we know what's next on the calendar, but we have no idea how that's going to play out, right?
No.
I mean, you look at a team like Detroit, who's really gone through, I would say, similar amount of pains that the Canucks have gone through in the last 3 to 5 years. Mm-hmm. Except for you look at what Detroit has done in terms of assembling a rebuild and draft stock and key pieces moving into the future. And you look what Vancouver has done, and there's no way in my mind to see Vancouver gain ground in this area, but you can just see a team like Detroit ascending into the upper echelon of this league. And that's because they've done things like move players for draft picks. It's because they've done things like stockpile. It's because they've done things like offload poor rosters. It's done things like not sign terrible, awful, horrible contracts that you can't run away from. So, I mean, I'm seeing this comparison. We talked a little bit about this last week, Brady. You brought this up. What happens if a guy like Petey gets offer sheeted? And maybe just take it from there, because I know you know what could happen in Detroit now.
Oh, for sure. I mean, we were looking it up right before we got started here. Definitely something we want to talk about. Detroit, I mean, they're in a position. We looked into this a little deeper, and they're definitely in a position where, they can. They're definitely a team where they can, if they want to, they can make it a sweet offer sheet towards a guy like Pettersson or Hughes. They have nearly $49 million in cap space. I believe they have. Let me pull
That's like a Brinks truck.
Let me pull it up here. So in 2021, they got 2 firsts, 3 seconds, 2 thirds, 2 fourths, 2 fifths, and a 6th. And even the following year, they have a first, 2 seconds, a third, 3 fourths, and then the rest of their picks.
Remember when we had a rash on hanging that drum? Like, it's people are thinking these things because you can do them. It may not happen, but you know what's interesting? Sorry, and I'm going to let you get back in 1 second, Brady. You know why this is so intriguing? Because Steve Yzerman has been under those guys for so long, watching the team that he was on get better and better in a non-cap team, and then eventually on a cap team. But he was watching it grow, and he was watching how they built those teams to win, right? And then he sees what the cap does, and then he starts seeing what's happening in Tampa and how that was all structured. And then because he's in Detroit, and now you see all these things change. And like now he has this stockpile, he has this treasure chest. And I think, I mean, the respect is there, but at the same time, he's not part of that old boys club. He's smart. Like he's like new NHL smart. And I think he has the weapons to piss a bunch of people off, and he could get away with it, and he can still stay status quo with the rest of what he's got. Like he can still do other stuff and still make a splash and absolutely bury the Canucks, if we're calling it burying. I mean, you have to go after an elite player like Elias Pettersson. Maybe he's just a franchise player. I'm not sure.
I mean, and that's the thing, though. I mean, because he's been so good and so smart, that's why I don't think, even though he has the assets to pull something like that off, I don't think he's the type of manager that's going to go out and overspend or overpay for a guy like Petey.
What would be an overpay?
See that happening, especially in Detroit. I don't know what it would be.
The times are tough.
What would be an overpay? I mean, I think Pettersson, he's a great player, but there's still a lot of uncertainty, especially with the injury this year too. I don't really know where that conversation starts, to be honest, but I would think any like 10 million. I don't know if I want to go towards like a $10 million deal with like for multi-year, like long term. I don't know at this point. So
like if you have an opportunity and they're probably the prime team to make this happen, why not? Really? Why not?
For who? Sorry.
For Detroit. Why not?
Yeah.
Like if you have the opportunity to steal away a player like that, and there's draft picks going the other way, and maybe that leads to like a Connor Bedard a couple years down the road, which would be rad. But why not? I mean, imagine if the Canucks were in that position to go and steal, who? Let's just say, and this is ridiculous, but just as an example, let's say a Nate McKinnon at the time, or Leon Draisaitl, or like imagine having the assets to make that happen, and you're still not bankrupting your team.
Yeah, but I mean, Nate Schmidt's kind of the perfect example. He's a guy where he took a $6 million deal instead of a 12.
But Nate Schmidt isn't Pettersson. Like, I'm just saying, like, you can go after a guy and still have everything left in the treasure chest. You're going to give away a few things, but you can still afford to continue day-to-day business and keep building. And you now have this amazing asset that you can now build your team around. And there's going to be some good players in that team. Like PD will make players better anywhere.
Oh, so. For sure.
It's because they have bullets, right? That's what you're talking about.
Yeah,
most teams only have that one silver bullet, right? Yeah. But Detroit doesn't. They have many bullets in the chamber that they can go after guys with, right? A lot of teams can't even make that pitch to PD because they don't have the draft capital even to to match what they have to give up, let alone have some plus some. So, I mean, history would suggest obviously that an offer sheet's not going to get made because that's the way the NHL has operated for the past umpteen years.
Yeah.
But that being said, draft picks are a funny thing, right? Draft picks are like, you don't know with draft picks unless you got, you know, like a top 5, right? If you got a top 10, you know, you're getting a good player, but it's probably still somebody you're going to have to develop. And even if you have a first round draft pick, you're not guaranteed to get a surefire NHLer. Nope. And I'll throw out Ole Juolevi's name as a point on this. Not saying that Juolevi's not going to make it, but that's a guy that they've had to invest considerable time in for it to turn around and pay dividends. Now, the whole point is that if a draft pick is a lottery ticket, would you not trade your lottery ticket for what you think it's worth? Right? I mean, if you have a lottery ticket that could win you $1 million and somebody said, I'll give you $1 million for that lottery ticket, maybe not $1 million because $1 million is like so
500 grand guaranteed.
So graphic. Yeah. But what if somebody said, you know, I'll give you $3,000 for your lottery ticket. I might give up $3,000. That's a sure thing. Right. And we think PD is a sure thing over not having PD or having to select somebody in who knows what pick in the first round. And that might be a funny analogy, but I think the point stands, right? If you can trade a gamble for a sure bet and you have the ammunition behind that to pull it off, then why isn't that a reasonable situation, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
It's definitely intriguing. I mean, yeah, it's going to be something we're definitely going to have to keep our eye on.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it comes down to like, if you're that type of GM where you've saved all this money, are you saving all that money so that you can pull a move off like this and risk, you know, maybe having overspent down the road? Or are you just going to stick to the status quo and keep trying to be that team that's always trying to save money and be smart?
For sure. And Average Joe just notes here in the chat that like a guy like Hughes can't be offer sheeted, right?
No.
So
right. Yeah.
We really should be taking care of our business though, and not leaving guys in a situation where they can get offer sheet, especially if you know, like a team like there's a shark in the water, and that shark's Detroit right now.
So let's get away from offer sheets for a second. There's rumor as well that guys may be looking to be traded out of Vancouver. Like I brought this up a month ago, how things were going to get worse, right? How the offseason could actually be even worse than what we've seen on the ice. I'm just looking at Cap Friendly right now. Like there's some guys on this team that could easily ask for a way out. Like, does JT Miller want out? Like, does he see that this team is in that poor of shape that he doesn't want to be around the way that these decisions are being made? Like, maybe Pettersson's that guy. Like, really, maybe he's one of those guys. Yep. Maybe, you know,
if Eichel can be, why can't PD?
Like,
exactly.
You know what? Like, we've all seen it. So has the media, and obviously so have the players. Like, there are so many things going wrong with this organization right now from the absolute very top. It's frightening. So why wouldn't you expect to see some of these? Like, I think there's going to be at least one. Somebody's going to be fed up with what's going on, or maybe they're just not going to resign, or maybe it's a combination of both. There are so many things going on with this team that are frightening. And we're all excited, like, yeah, eventually things are going to be better. But what if they get that much worse and they have to redo some of these moves? Like as I said, what if PD asked for a trade? What if JT Miller's gone? Now you don't have a JT Miller or a re-signed Tyler Toffoli. It scares me. Like this it's frightening. And the fact that you don't have a coach, you know, Thomas Drance was talking on the Vancast that, you know, they're maybe looking at Julian. Why are we going down this road? Why do they continue to make that move? And they use the recycled, you know, roulette wheel of coaches or GMs or available talent. You can't keep going down that road and assuming that things are going to change. The Oilers finally made some of those changes, not extremely, but they have finally gotten out of that old boys club that was running the Oilers for so long, making those same stupid mistakes. And they finally got out of that, and they're slowly climbing the mountain. Now, they're probably not going to win this year, but it probably won't take much for them to get where they'd like to be. And now we're that laughing stock of a team. Like, they're joking about the Canucks like they're worse than Ottawa or worse than Buffalo.
Well, we finished worse in the standings. So
how did it get that bad?
How did it get that bad?
we went from being one of the most well-run organizations in the entire NHL when Gillis was there, whether you like him or not. And I'm not talking about like, but how good was your draft? I'm talking about how good your organization is run.
Sleep doctors,
right? I mean, even
sleep doctors, exactly.
Yes, exactly. That's thinking outside the box. Despite how poor his draft record was, the team was successful in terms of managing its roster, managing its assets. By assets, I'm talking about draft picks, managing its contracts, and the front office that was assembled around him was ridiculous, right? So everybody blames this sort of on Aquilini. Anybody who's like a really big Benning supporter says that this is an Aquilini issue, right? Well, it wasn't an Aquilini issue when the same ownership was here when Gillis was here as there is now. Yep. So I think the only trend here is that the front office group is not the one, right? And I think they've proven that over the last like 5 years. Mm-hmm. This is I mean, if we look at, I think Rob Williams had a tweet today, and he said he sent a picture and it said the worst teams in the NHL since 2015 are the worst of the Sabres. Like that's out of control bad. I think we're talking about a 471 win percentage, just slightly above Buffalo, who's sitting in at 444. Yeah. So this has been an awful 5 years. So I don't know where the positivity sits in this last 5 years because it's not in the record. We can't just keep waiting, The green thing I think was handled. It looks like it was handled poorly from an optics side of things, right? This is either your guy or it's not. That being said, I don't know if Green is like the be-all, end-all coach. Honestly, I think he's a good coach. I don't know if he's the coach that's going to drag this team.
But why
out of the gutter? Well, that brings me to my other point. The other thing you said, Ryan, was like retreads don't work. I would disagree with that. I think guys burn out their welcome and they only have an expiration date. And when you move on to a new team, they can be really good. I mean, Tortorella is a good example of it. Yeah. Alain Vigneault was all the way down in the AHL before he made his way back up to the NHL to take this team all the way to a Stanley Cup Game 7 final. So retreads do work, but you better know who you're getting, right? I don't think you can just go add any retread. And I think Julian is an example of that. So I totally see what you're saying.
And I'm agreeing with you. I think it's more of just, there's the obvious elephant in the room is another Boston guy. And he's
another Boston guy, yeah.
But it's just like, let's try to rebuild what they did 10 years ago. It's 10 years ago. I didn't have a mustache 10 years ago. Things have changed for the better, clearly.
For me, I'm at the point where like, I don't care. I just think it's for the best to just clean house, clean out the management, clean out the coach, restart, rebuild. It's time to just finally accept that. And I thought we were going to finally see that with all these rumors kind of floating around over the last 48 hours or so, but they were talking to the Sedins, they're talking to Courtnall, and then all of a sudden Sportsnet comes out and drops this article saying they're expecting betting back now. And it's just like,
what a day.
You can't be fucking serious.
No, yesterday, like it was
mind-blowing.
Alex Blair saying there's going to be changes. I'll let you go in a second. Okay. Blair comes out with changes, saying the Canucks are going to be making changes you're going to hear about at the end of the day. By the end of the day, the changes are we're changing what we said. There will be no changes.
Basically, betting needs a babysitter is what they're saying at this point.
And it's like a PR shtick. I love the Sedins, and maybe they are grooming them to be there. But man, the timing sucks. Like it really does. Sorry, Ted, you were on something there.
But maybe it's time to bring them into a smaller role. Sorry.
I can't remember what I was going to say. It's all good.
Okay, good. We didn't care anyway. So,
and this is kind of bringing back to the whole Yzerman thing, right?
Yeah.
Who knows if the Sedins would be good in a management role? But with the way they take their hockey career, they're going to really put in 110% effort. Maybe you put them into a smaller role, but I think you only really do that if you're getting rid of Benning. It's just, I don't know. This whole situation is super, super weird, and it's
murky.
It seems to be like classic Canucks over the last 5 years or so. It's just like typical, how can we make things worse? And then it's like, holy shit, they made it 10 times worse. How the hell did they do that?
Wow, it's actually way worse than I thought it was. Brady, you hit the nail on the head, right? This is a classic Canucks thing. And this is what scares me about the idea of the Twins coming in, right? Do you remember when we brought a hall of not a Hall of Famer, but like an elite Ring of Honor player in to be a figurehead and be a huge part of this franchise?
That worked
I do.
out.
I do. It was Trevor Linden, and he lost that battle, and he had to leave. He had to leave the
right.
franchise. He was right, but that's the thing, right? He was right, but he had to leave because the guy that was in place overthrew him, right? I mean, philosophical differences, right? So what I don't want to happen, because I'm annoyed that this happened to Linden. I really am.
Oh, for sure.
Right. What I don't want to happen is for the Twins to come in, and I was talking to my buddy Kyle about this today. I don't want the Twins to come in and be another scapegoat for Jim Benning. And that ruins. There's only so many of these guys that you have a chance to do this with, that you have the chance to develop. And I believe the Twins obviously have that ability in their mindset to be able to do it, just like a Steve Yzerman went somewhere else to cut his teeth, came back to the franchise that groomed him, right? But I don't want to see them come in here and them not choose their guy. And I know Linden picked Benning, but if Linden picked Benning, he should have been able to be the guy that, like, okay, I realize that this isn't the guy either, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's not what happened. And then later on, we're seeing a guy like Judd Brackett enter the scene.
We forgot about Judd.
What the, and what's his face, who came from Florida too? Like, there's a bunch of weird stuff going on. Brackett was good, and then away he goes. I just don't know. I don't want to see the Twins become another dump, another scapegoat. And if they're going to be the guys here, then by all means make them the guys here. But it's their guys that they're going to pick to bring in.
Oh, 100%. That's what I mean. Like when I said it, I was like, if you're bringing the Twins in, it can't be attached to Benning in any sort of way. It has to be clean slate, new manager. You got them in some sort of grooming role potentially.
Listen to this.
I don't know.
And I don't think they're going to do that though. If
Listen
they call
to
him in. And if I'm the Twins, I'm not taking that job because I don't have autonomy.
You just said them. Typical Canucks, classic Canucks, Brady. They would like to hire 2 people instead of 1. They would be paying 2 people instead of 1 person.
Well, they need a bigger front office.
Let's give up a first when we only need to give up a second, but we're going to give up both. Why?
The Twins thing is like a funny thing, though, right? I mean,
it is. It's still. I get that.
It is funny. It is funny.
You're giving a job, and I know Mike Gillis. If you guys saw that interview, I had posted a while back how he'd have like 3 AGMs. I think he said like one for drafting, one for what. Like he had basically a tiered system. Now that fits into that system, but the current system you've just potentially hired, and maybe they will, maybe they won't. You need 2 guys to do this advisory role instead of 1. Like, there's another way to sec guy moment. Like, hey, do we need like the Sedins as 2 people? Could we?
You can't just bring 1 back.
Brady's got it. He's got it.
You can't just bring 1 back. Sorry, Daniel. You got to stay home. We're bringing Henrik in.
It's the only time that it works. I mean, and wouldn't it? And I will play devil's advocate to the Twins.
Who got the Hart Trophy first? Who got the Hart Trophy? Henrik.
Who got the Art Ross?
Who was the captain? Exactly.
Also the captain.
So I will say that if you are in a position where you're the guy that's making the decisions, it would be amazing to have somebody who you would actually be bonded with.
Yeah.
To be able to bounce those decisions off and make educated decisions together.
Right.
Knowing that you are able, and only the Twins would have that benefit.
Obviously,
honestly.
Like I get it. I'm creating content.
Such a dick fuck.
I mean, I don't know. I just
have
think
none of those things.
If we're talking strictly GM, like for the GM position, I think I think it would just play out. It'd be kind of how they did captain and assistant captain. It'd be Henrik would be the GM and Daniel would technically be the assistant GM. I don't know.
I'm sure they'll just come in as like consultants or something like that. Like, but what's the point of that?
I don't know.
Let's take a brief little break from the madness, from the anger, the built up just rage. You got one. I'm gonna do you one better, my friend. You know what came in the mail this past week, folks?
What's that?
Mm-hmm.
One of those.
Nice.
A few of these.
I'm still breaking mine in, but they're dope.
Nice. Look
these
at those.
Things, oh man, like my boy Kevin at Summer Skates, he gave us a few trial pairs so we can make sure we're gonna have a contest. And I'm so happy. I have the XL. I bought a double X, or he gave me a double X. That's my size. So if you're a size 12, a big size 12 for foot size, like come home, baby. You're ready to rock. We are going to have these up, probably a month. Let's run it for a month. And we'll do it right before Canada Day. So we'll run it to late June. And we are going to do whichever one. I mean, we'll probably give away a few as well. We are going to have a contest So make sure you're voting on this. We're still going to have our 3-for-1 Summer Skates promo. They've been generous enough to continue that, which has gone really well. Tara, the glove drop won, which is pretty rad. And she's already a Summer Skates supporter. So
yeah, she was actually
worked out in her favor.
She Instagrammed a picture today. She had him on in the dressing room.
Nice. So
I mean, she had all her gear on, and she was rocking some Summer Skates, some Panarins.
Exactly, number 10, baby.
Baby.
So anyway, these came in. They're phenomenal. You're gonna vote for which one we get made. We're gonna do a minimum 12 pairs. That's how it rocks. We're a small podcast, so we can't go big. If you want to buy them and we get enough, we will make as many as people want. But we do want those votes in there. White with the black square. And we'll post again after everything's done. White with the black square. Black with the white square. You decide what the winner will be. And those are the ones that get made. There's really nothing more to say about that. They're just absolutely amazing. They're great. They're comfy. I wear my pink ones for cutting the grass. I wear the white ones for going out, having a good time. They're great. Ted, I know you're like up the yin yang with summer skates now at your house for some reason. So you're quite happy.
There's a few pairs kicking around. I have a pair of larges, like I'm a size 10, and I have a pair of larges, and I was like, nah, these are too small. And then they got broken, and I was like, actually, these are really good. So I can't wait to finish breaking in the XLs to see like how much better they fit.
Yeah. So thankfully we can be your guinea pig, folks. So make sure that you get. I'm gonna throw this on here as well, the little banner to make sure you enter. Ted posted something today to enter our Summer Skates 3-for-1 promo. It's a rad deal. And did you guys see that I tweeted the koozie as well? Do you see that little thing? I was at finished my gazebo in the backyard barbecue or the fire pit, just chilling, having some burgers with the fam, had my beer and my koozie with my PP1 koozie. I'm rolling, man. It's time for summer. Wear your summer skates, walk the talk, be a comfort champion in 2021. Get out your votes. This one matters. This one's for real. Ted, I saw in the rundown that you had an interesting question that Brady and I were debating before you got in here. This is probably one of the greatest questions and biggest debates of all time. Tupac or Biggie? Biggie or Tupac?
It's true.
Let's discuss. Brady, who do you got?
Oh, man. I think I'd have to go Biggie. The OG. My boy Biggie. Biggie Smalls.
Okay. Any reason for going for Biggie?
I think I just jam with his songs better. And I mean, I think he's just an OG. I mean, they're both obviously
both OGs, but yeah, I know what you're saying.
For me, I mean, I think they'd probably definitely both be in my top 5. So they're both definitely GOATs, but they're not my number one. So
they're elite.
They're elite, exactly. They are elite rappers.
They're
pretty much franchise rappers, but not quite franchise rappers. Yeah, they're just elite.
You could actually make real enemies if you go that route.
Saying that the Biggie and Pac are elite? They 100% are.
If he went franchise.
He knows.
Yeah, I know. This is fun. We need to keep this going.
Ryan, what do you got?
Who's going to break? For me, I think that it's weird because I probably heard more of Biggie's stuff, but if I had to pick, I think I like the poeticness of Tupac. I think he was just more aggressive, more raw, and I think overall it's tough because Brady. I mean, this is a ridiculous debate because you're not wrong either way. No. But I think I liked what Tupac brought. That he was just, and I just like maybe more of that aggressive.
You're definitely right about being aggressive.
Like it's
definitely more aggressive.
At the same time, like he was soft. Like he wanted to be one of those guys that changed the world, that made people think, and he did. He didn't do it with the bling and I mean, California Love was pretty rad, so there was a little bit of bling there. That wasn't his style. Like he wasn't all about the show. He was about basically putting pen to paper, getting his voice out there, and making people listen up. And I mean, Changes, that's still a pretty iconic song, and it rings ridiculously true even after, talking about seeing a black president, even after Barack Obama got into office. Like that song still resonates.
There's some foreshadowing there.
Yeah, like it's something else. I'd pick Tupac. That's my dude out of this combo.
So does that mean I get to be the tiebreaker then on this one?
I guess so.
If you pick,
Teddy.
If you pick like, I don't know, Warren G out of nowhere, then like regulators. No, wrong debate.
So when I was younger, like coming up in high school, it was all about Tupac. He was just so, because Pac got you in the feels, right? Got you in the feels. Like, oh, it was good for everything, right? I could just sit down and listen to it. You could listen to it before a game in the dressing room. Like you could listen to it while you were playing video games. Like it was everything, right? And you always just got you amped. And then as I got older, because I didn't even really I was like, oh yeah, that's East Coast stuff. I don't listen to East Coast stuff. It's so stupid, right? And then as I got older, I was like, man, I still love Tupac. But Biggie, there's something about that flow and that vibe, right? Like as I get older and I slow down a little bit more, like it's all about the lyrics and how he's delivering them and what he's. So I think now, because it was pretty close up until the last couple of years, but I think if I have to lean one way, it's got to go Notorious.
See, because you're a big papa.
It's maybe because I'm a big papa now. Yeah. So for me, if you would have asked me this probably like 5 years ago, I probably would have said Tupac. But now for me, it's Biggie.
Wow.
Hey, Ted.
And I didn't even know that you could do that. I don't know.
Hey Ted, who shot you?
Is the sheriff.
I'm glad we got to the bottom of this. That's like, this is hard hitting stuff. It's not just Canucks. It's not just playoffs and heartbreak and Louis Erickson and all that. It's like we get to the real issues on this show.
Have you guys seen the documentary on Netflix?
I was watching it before I came over here, and I was like, okay, I have to ask this.
Man, those guys look like them. Holy crap.
Oh no, I was watching the actual documentary. There's like
no, not the Biggie one. I mean the.
Oh no, I didn't see that one.
I can't remember what it's called.
I did see the first like 20 minutes of it, and those guys look a lot like them.
No,
yeah, it was pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. I got some time. I could probably watch it out. Make it happen.
Back when I used to read Word Up magazine.
I've been trying to catch up on Breaking Bad. I'm in season 3, halfway through. That's Skylar. Nice. I do not like her.
Oh, yeah, Skylar's crazy, dude.
Okay, have we had this conversation already? How basically Walt is providing for his family. The dude's got cancer, and he wants to make sure his family's better off. And she goes and sleeps with her boss just to spite him.
Yeah,
Done.
No. And the way she told him to.
Oh, yes. Like I remember, and that was the last one I went to bed, and I couldn't stop thinking. When I woke up the next morning, I'm like, she did that.
Isn't Walter? That guy's name Ted too?
Walter, fuck Ted.
Yeah. Yeah. And then he goes and he throws the fucking flower plant fucking through the window.
Doesn't matter exactly, like they're out of milk, basically. Him
throwing that big plant was almost as good as him throwing the pizza on the
That
roof.
Was good.
I don't know if anything will top the pizza though.
Yeah, it was pretty damn good. How far along are you, Ted? You almost done?
Yeah. So I don't really want to talk too much about it, but I'm in season 4 now,
okay,
and
so close.
I'm getting into some of the baddies are having like flashbacks about their past. So
right,
okay, I'll get there eventually, Ryan, but maybe just don't follow along.
Gustavo.
You know what? I'm gonna get there. I think we'll have to catch up at the end of the show and figure out where we're sitting.
Maybe we'll watch the finale together.
Oh, you know what? There'll be a
TV on the patio.
That's peak friendship, right?
You guys should live stream it together. Have a little cry party.
Like no one's watching. You're wrong. Everybody's watching, and I think that's the thing too. I think everybody would watch that because why not? Really, I'm getting absolutely hammered here. Can't believe you're only starting to watch it. Yeah, I have had a life for the last 10 years. I've had some stuff going on. I would have liked to watch it. I had to get into Entourage. I had Succession. I had Westworld. I had, what am I missing here?
I didn't start watching it. Honestly, I thought the whole time that it was only going to be one season because the main character had cancer.
I know. Yeah. Bad joke. Yeah. I mean, let's get back to some Canucks talk, eh?
Okay. Do you want to talk about Edler and how he was sat for the final game? He didn't score a goal this season.
No, he didn't. Isn't that nuts?
He did have 99 problems for the entire season.
Take the guy off the power play, and he just can't seem to pot one.
Here's my theory. Now, if you guys read my Canucks Army thing, and I'm going to get into that in a second too. Here's my theory. He looked off Besser so many times on the power play that when push came to shove and that goal went in and Besser tipped it, and then it just started rolling because Besser got like 2 more after that, right? Payback. I think he remembers. I think he remembers. Like, Besser's got a long memory. If I got looked off that many times and you cost me, maybe he cost him some cheddar. Maybe he cost him a bigger contract. I'd remember. Don't look him up.
Let's jump into this a little bit more. I mean, is there anything to this? Him not playing? Like, what does that say? Is there a story there? Is there not?
It was back to back. I mean, realistically, there's only 2 schools of thought. He's gassed, and it's a mean nothing game, and he feels he's probably coming back next season, maybe on a small deal. He's going to get 1 goal.
Do you think it was his decision not to play?
I think so.
I don't know, man. I think that.
Oh, I like this.
I think these guys are pros. I think that anytime they're asked if they want to play, the answer is yes.
Like Henrik wouldn't sit. Daniel wouldn't sit. Henrik stood up.
Yeah. Well, let's put this into Travis Green's shoes. As a coach trying to get a contract, what's he thinking not playing out there? Is that a good move, bad move?
Well, maybe at this point, I'm not sure if he cares.
Yeah. I mean, he seemed to care when he called that. He had that coach's challenge today. I mean, he seemed to care.
Sorry. So I'm not talking about caring about coaching or caring about his players. I'm talking about caring about they haven't given me a contract. I don't care. Like I'm in the room with my guys. It's just me and my guys. That's all I care about. I'm here until I'm not.
But let's be real. He is coaching for a job right now.
Yeah, sure. But I mean, 1 game's not going to change that, right? I mean, he's got a whole resume that he can say, look at this, check my resume, see what I've done for development wise. He's going to staple his name to guys like Petey and guys like Hoglander and guys like Quinn, who are rookies coming up, who were just inserted into spots to succeed. Right. So I'm not sure that one game or even 1 week is going to make a difference in what another team is going to think of his philosophy. If you're looking at it just from like an outside perspective, he's out of vet, the oldest vet on the team, theoretically.
Yeah.
So is he older than Louis Eriksson? I can't remember. He shot a vet, and he said, you're taking a night off. And it doesn't matter at that point if Edler said he wanted to play or not, because like those guys are always going to say they want to play, right? Like probably I'm just guessing that's the way that they act, right? So I don't know if I want to read too much into it, but there could be something there. I mean, stranger things. This is Canuckland. I mean,
anything's possible. Anything.
Well, I mean, it's definitely not to the extent, but I mean, you think about the Mike Babcock thing with Mike Modano. I mean, that was a bit obviously overboard compared to what we're talking about, but
he was a dick.
Yeah.
Mike Babcock was a dick. Travis Green isn't a dick.
Yeah, they're very different coaches. I know what you're saying.
So was that Modano or was that Spezza? Who am I thinking about?
No, it was Modano.
Yeah?
Modano where?
In Detroit, wasn't it?
Detroit, right. Yeah. He joined Detroit in his last year, didn't he?
Tried to get him the game or whatever. He's like, no, I'm
2,000 games or whatever.
So anyway, it's I think maybe, I mean, we need to talk about something, and it's definitely something worth reading into. But the one thing I don't get is all of this, I'm going to call it fake hate or fake noise. The whole banner. Apparently, there's another banner flying on Saturday. Brady, you should go check it out.
Protest. Should I go to the protest, you guys? What do you think?
You should. You know what?
That's the fucking dumbest thing that I've ever heard of.
Here's your final project. Go broadcast. Go live with
that is the stupidest thing that I've ever heard. Who protests in a goddamn pandemic over a hockey team?
Yeah,
that's so stupid.
Yeah.
But you know what the other thing is? It's
God,
stupid. You know what the other thing is though? The whole I'm canceling my season tickets because blah blah blah. I mean, I get there is anger there, and this team isn't turning it around. But you're gonna do it like you really have lost all faith in the Vancouver Canucks, that you do not want to invest. Like, it's not like this team is going to fall off the face of the earth and never come back. It's their Vancouver Canucks hockey tickets. You would never see that in Toronto. You would never see that in Montreal. You wouldn't see that in any of the other big center. Like, you just wouldn't. That shouldn't happen. You're an idiot if you're gonna go and I'm selling my season tickets, I can't take it anymore. Are you kidding me? That stuff is gold. You'll never get them back, ever.
Especially in a pandemic where I mean people are going to be dying to go to those games. Like, are you kidding me?
I get the reasoning. I get the argument. I do. I get the gist of why people are saying it, and it's all. I still think it's fake noise, though. You can't go. I honestly, if you said, Ryan, here's a plan to have Canucks season tickets next year, and you can have them as long as you want, I would do it. As bad as things are, I would do it.
It's so silly to me because if you think that doing stuff like protests and maybe the banner across the sky thing, the fire banning thing, maybe that does. But if you think that any of this has any impact and think that it moves the needle at all, I think that this ownership group is probably so stubborn that they don't care. Okay, I see that Aquilini makes tweets and stuff from time to time, but really they're so out of touch even when you read those, right?
Oh, they're brutal.
How does it make the market look, though?
So the thing about Canucks fans, and I am Canucks fan, so I'm part of this greater good, right, as a whole. But they can be some of the best fans in the entire league. There's other teams that have the most entitled fans, and I'm gonna throw Leafs Nation out there in that one, maybe even Montreal because there's a lot of talk about past. But Vancouver also has the ability to have some of the worst fans in the entire league. And that hurts me to say that, but it is 100% true. And I'm not sure if you guys feel the same way or not.
This will be the 10th time this phrase has been said, but you hit the nail on the head, Ted.
We love that saying. I
think we've all said it now at least once, so we're good. It is. They're very educated. They're stubborn, but a lot of people know what they're talking about. And yeah, there's a lot of the fair weather fans as well. But the reason people are getting just so bent out of shape is they're passionate. Look what this team's history has looked like. There's never been a champion. Let's forget about the millionaire stuff. In current day NHL, there's never been a champion. They've been to the final 3 times. They've been heartbroken twice. One was close. One, we've grown up and we were in the social media age and we lived it a different way. Like, yeah, there's a lot of passion in this fan base, but yeah, there's a lot of idiots too. It blows my mind that people are willing to go to such extremes to try to prove a point that doesn't need to be proven. Flying a banner, like $1,300. So I don't know how many people donated to this, but you decided that this is how you'd like to spend your money instead of, we talked about lottery tickets. Would you rather spend $10 on a Set for Life scratch and win or put $10 toward an idiotic banner that's going to do nothing?
What if somebody said, I'll trade you flying a banner across the sky for a lottery ticket that you just bought?
What lottery ticket is it? A wrestling one?
I don't know.
Okay. It's just, Brady, what do you think?
Sorry, I was totally distracted by a tweet.
Read it.
Was it a good tweet?
Yeah, it's
Then read it. What's the tweet?
It's from a guy named Phil Verrett, and he says, "You're going to love the Max Domi for JT Miller trade, Bowie." It just got me thinking. It just really got me thinking.
That maybe is a Jim Benning move.
That's funny because those guys played on the same team, came out of the same draft. Yeah.
Yep.
I would obviously hate to see that. Like, let's be real. Speaking of another funny tweet, after news drops from Elliot Friedman about Benning coming back.
Oh boy!
The Seattle Kraken goes and says, for everyone asking, yes, we are accepting new applications of new fans.
They're so savage.
They're so hilarious.
They're ready to go, and
Mm-hmm.
God bless them. God bless them, everyone. We have about 15 minutes or so left. Let's get into our favorite segment, our end of season. And this is a tough one.
Is this based on the season?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yep.
Because we have to take everything into account. End of season, dudes and guys. If you haven't heard about dudes and if you haven't heard about it, we're not going to tell you now. We're 91 episodes. Get lost. I guess do we start with dudes? We might as well. You want to start with guys? Let's start with the bad stuff. Brady, who would be your guy of the season?
Definitely.
Let's stick. Just wait. Let's stick with roster. Okay. Let's
Damn
not
it.
go. Let's keep it. Let's keep it in the room.
Okay. Honestly, for me, a guy that I wasn't really too happy with this year is honestly Nate Schmidt.
Yeah.
Finishes the year
That.
with 15 points. I don't really have too much to say about him, honestly. He wasn't terrible. Like, he really wasn't terrible. But I mean, the hype around him when we acquired him as to like what he showed us and what he's being paid. It wasn't an amazing season from him, and I just don't really know what to think of him moving forward. And then that's honestly, that's a pretty simple answer, but
that's a fair assessment.
We
didn't get the bright lights that
we didn't get the Nate Schmidt that is going to move this team into a better position. I mean, we didn't get the Nate Schmidt in Vegas for sure.
Yeah, high expectations, Brady. I think that's it, right? I mean, your disdain for his season, and it's not like you're dogging on him horrendously, but he was just a guy for you this year, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's all based on the expectations around Nate Schmidt, and expectations were high. So I think that's warranted.
Yeah, that's
he may have been our second best defender.
Yeah, and that's the crazy part.
But if you're not, hey man, it sucks to suck, right? The Canucks suck this year, so there's a bunch going on with that.
Tyler Myers, I think, was our second best defender.
And I was going to say that honestly, he's not going to be
21
my dude,
points for Tyler Myers.
He wasn't horrible this year. He really wasn't.
It was a better season for him.
Yeah, I mean, and he deserves that, especially on this podcast. Like, he needs that credit a little bit.
Tyler
season
Myers
for him
for sure.
It was a redemption season for Tyler Myers.
100%.
Wow, saying that out loud just hurts. Can I go next? Can I
go ahead?
Take away the off ice stuff, the recent off ice stuff. My absolute guy this season was Jake Virtanen. It finally had hit the fan for him as a player. He did have an opportunity in a season that we kind of assumed was going to be a throwaway anyway. Jake Virtanen just absolutely was not even like a shell of what he was before. Like, he was non-existent. He had a handful of shifts that are pretty rad. I've said rad a lot, sorry. But
rad's a great word.
It is a great word. But overall, Jake Virtanen was very meh. He was just bland. And the project player that they drafted failed when they could have had two other players instead of him. And they decided to go with Jake, knowing full well that he was a project. And they invested all that time and money. And it does suck the way this has all ended. Again, if whatever happened, if it did happen, Jake's going down for sure.
You're talking about the hockey stuff, so it's okay.
Yeah. So, sorry, to get back into the hockey, everything fizzled out for him. And for one guy that they invested in, that they were hoping that they could continue to get dividends out of as a versatile winger, end up being nothing. And that sucks. That is one player that there was some hope there. There really was. I think there was an opportunity for him to gain some ground. And then out of nowhere, Niels Höglander comes out, and next year is going to be Vasily Podkolzin. We're going to see hopefully the next step for Cole Lind. I know he knows now what he's going to need to do to be a Vancouver Canuck. You can get into, the Chatfields, and there's or Gadjevich, I apologize. So there's guys coming up, and he just totally botched it. And I think it's those little things, right? It's the smaller picture stuff that you watch day to day, and you think, okay, yeah, they didn't sign so-and-so, and yeah, this line hasn't been going, and Quinn Hughes hasn't quite had the season that we would have liked, and Petey gets injured. But at least there was guys that were maybe showing some promise, and he was one guy that just didn't do a thing. And they'll move on from him one way or another, and thankfully there will be a position open at this point. And hopefully a guy like, Podkolzin actually does step into that role, and man, I hope he does. So Jake Virtanen's my guy.
I want to jump in on this one a little bit because I think Jake was going to be my guy, and I've been a big supporter of Jake on this show for a while now, right? Yep. And I think this season was going to be the season for him. He was either going to establish himself as a guy who has top six ability, probably plays in a third line role, and could be a 40+ point guy. And we thought that the abilities were, we've seen it, obviously. He's come close to matching those stats before. So it was either going to be that or it was going to be an absolute disaster. And it was quite clear that we got the latter. So, one of the reasons why I was so, not caught up in Jake, but continued to believe in Jake and the whole process thing was because I think one thing that Benning's done really well is draft players on this squad.
Mm-hmm.
And be able to recognize some talent, right? And if he's a project, Ryan, you shouldn't be drafting a project at that spot.
No, that's my point. Yeah.
But if this ownership group, and I shouldn't say ownership, if this management group, if Jim Benning, this was Jim Benning's guy, and he had the most influence on this pick, and he saw something there, I was willing to be okay with that. This is like one of the things that I give Benning credit for.
He saw it through.
He did. He stuck to his guy, and that's the only reason that I thought that maybe Virtanen does have a chance to make it. And I think all this does, in like a weird sort of way, is just prove to me that maybe he doesn't have a bead on the guys that he's drafting all the time, and he doesn't know when to walk away, and that's quite clear. I think this is another feather on the tar, I suppose. Right? I mean, it's not as good as it was supposed to be. And we hung on for it to way too long, and we lost out on things that could have been on this roster that could have been playing a role right now.
Sure.
That would have, and we said this already before, would have moved the needle.
Yeah, there was just no movement. That's all. So so I stole your guy. Who's your guy then?
I mean, there's a lot of opportunities for guys on this team, and I won't even go the old whipping boy way and throw this to Louis Eriksson, because at least he just went away quietly into the night.
Yeah, that was a dude move on his part.
It was, yeah.
Maybe he's the dude that we didn't realize.
But I mean, I think if I'm going to pick a guy, and I'm talking about underwhelming in terms of expectations, I think Braden Holtby is what I thought he would be this year.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Is exactly what I thought he would be. Just a guy.
Yeah,
you called it. And barely that, right? I mean,
you definitely called that.
We're talking about a team with what we think is an extremely high-end goalie coach in Ian Clark. Mm-hmm. And where was Ian Clark in his game? I did see some good games from Holtby, but we're talking about a $4 million goalie, guys. Maybe more. What does he make? 4 point something or just 4?
4.3.
$4.3 million goalie, right? Mm-hmm. This was supposed to be the guy that was supposed to split starts with Demko. And if Demko wasn't playing, I did not have any faith. I did not feel comfortable at any point watching Holtby play and think it's cool. We got this, Before I would be like, it's cool. Demko's in. Hey, don't worry about it. It's Markstrom tonight, who's looked really bad lately. But I didn't see that. I didn't have that that non-shutterness from Braden Holtby. And I didn't have expectations that were very high for Braden Holtby. But I feel like a large percentage of this fan base did, and his salary says that it should be. And it wasn't where it needed to be.
I mean, we're talking about a 3.67 goals against average and an
awful
0.889 save percentage. So
yeah,
that's pretty god awful.
And it's been bad for a bunch of years now, a couple of years now.
Yeah, 100%.
So
you were, not to beat a dead horse here, but you hit the nail on the head there with that prediction.
Horses really get a bad rap on that comment, Dave. Like no one ever says beat a dead dog or beat a
dead cow.
Oh yeah. Beat a dead horse. That sucks. That really sucks for horses. Whatever. Screw them. Horses suck. Hey, let's get into some dudes. Let's get into the fun part. Everybody's happy again. Ted, because I stole your guy, I'm going to be the honorable person and give you the first dude.
It's Brock. It's Brock by a country mile. However long that is. I don't know. But I mean, he was so good this year. And I think so many things that he did last year that we were really excited about. Brock's not scoring, but look what he's doing in the corner. Look at that back check. Look how
game.
Yeah, look how good he is in the defensive zone. Look how much more physical he's been. Mm-hmm. He was all of those things plus the scoring touch this year.
Sure.
And he was stirring the drink when Petey wasn't around. And he was good when Petey was here. So all this talk about, hey, what if we used block on the third line or the second line, like I see so often throughout Twitter, or I did see so often, is all gone now. It's all evaporated. This franchise needs to now figure out what they want to do with a guy like Brock Besser, because he's, to me, an extremely important part of this team, this roster. And unfortunately, he also carries a ridiculous amount of trade value. And that can be a good or a bad thing, right? So is Brock Besser's future with the Vancouver Canucks? I don't know. Would I like it to be? I would, especially if this is the Brock that's going to come here year after year. I think he was on like a 33 goal pace. Like that's unbelievable. And I would like to see that coming back.
His shot is back where it should be.
And it looked lethal. And if we're being completely honest, guys, it probably wasn't even as lethal as it was in his rookie season, which means it's coming back, which means it's going to get better. And I'm excited for that. I'm so excited for
100%.
Like that tip against Edler, and then Brady, you go for a second.
Precise.
That tip on the Edler shot, that's the kind of stuff that, it's those seeing eye stuff, right? Like it's those little things. When you're the first guy cheering because it went off your stick, like Brock, he's in that zone. He went on a tear to end the season too. In a mean nothing games when everybody could have just walked away, could have called it a day, and Brock Besser was still potting goals. B, who's your dude, man?
To be honest, I gotta say, Ted, I am kind of shocked you didn't pick our boy Nils.
Hey man, I like Nils. I'm there with that.
You talked Nils up so much this year. I think he was like your go-to dude. So I'm surprised you took Besser there. But I'll go with Hoglander. I mean, the kid was great. Ryan thought he was going to be good. So Ryan was definitely was correct there.
Yes.
He hit the nail on the head for sure.
That's we need a ticker or something.
Like right on the head. And or in curling terms, like Bobby Ursel would tell me, right on the nose.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh,
right.
See,
Right. So,
you're embracing
right on the nose.
Right on the nose head.
Just curled it right in there.
Yeah, exactly. And Hoglander did that this year. He curled it right in there. I mean,
past the hog line.
Half a point per player. He proved he was a top 6. Past the hog line. Yeah, proved he was a top 6 player. 13 goals. Most exciting player on the team award, the Pavel Bure award. Great way to start a rookie season. I mean, he wasn't a finalist, but
he was top 4.
And he was top 5 in scoring on the team. So I mean,
would you say
what more could you ask for?
Yeah, exactly. Hats off to Hoglander, and like, great. He's great for this team. Definitely the brightest spot of the year for me. And
he attempted the goal a few times.
Is he your pick, Brady? If Brock doesn't get taken?
Honestly, I was cool with kind of picking Besser, Hoglander, Demko too. I was kind of through that little trio, so I don't know. Yeah, that other guy. Honestly, there's a fourth one in there for me too. I'm not going to say it, but go ahead, Ryan.
Mr. Piss and Vinegar himself, JT Miller. Okay. I've mentioned him so many times this season. If Bo Horvat wasn't the captain, that guy's captain material. He'd go through a brick wall for you. He stood up when no one else did, when it really mattered after the COVID break. He just played pissed off because he knew that there was still value in this season. And he was any chance that didn't go in, or when VC handed him that wicked little sauce pass for that one goal there a couple games ago.
That was nice.
He was still in it. He was still gaming, and he cares. And that's hard because there wasn't much to care about this season. And yet JT Miller, game in and game out, came out pissed off, ready to go. F-bombs per 60 was through the roof. And if he does get traded, if he asks for a trade, that's one of those guys. To me, I would put that on the same level as Tyler Toffoli not re-signing. I would think of it that largely. My grammar isn't so great. That would be the guy that would really, really upset me. I do hope that PD and Hughes, I hope there's no big moves, but you're in on JT Miller right now, and he can be a guy that can help this team move forward. There's going to be guys coming up through the ranks. Podkolzin, I brought up already.
Oh, what a guy to model your game after if you're Vasily Podkolzin.
Oh, man. Imagine JT Miller not on the Canucks next season.
Don't you feel like Podkolzin is just another version of JT Miller?
Then you've got 2.
You do, yeah.
Then you've got 2. Imagine not having 2. Imagine getting rid of the guy that was the model. The guy that has already shown you what it takes to go through the playoffs. A guy that literally will, again, he's going to be that first guy that's going to back you up if you're in a corner. If things get nasty, JT Miller's there for you. Imagine him not on this team. Imagine him not on this team this year.
I agree with what you're saying. You have to be almost a little bit pissy if you're JT Miller, right? I mean, you were acquired.
Yeah.
The team gave up a first round draft pick to get you, right? I mean, that first rounder, if you're going to the team that gives up the first rounder, now doesn't have that asset as part of the future, right? And you're on that team that doesn't have that piece, that part of the future, right?
Right.
But the reason you're there is because you're there to make that big playoff push. You're that guy. You're adding to the core to go all the way, only to take a direct step back the very next year. It must piss him off to no end to know that this team did this work to get him and did not lay the foundation for the future.
Man, it's brutal. It really is. But he's my dude for all those reasons.
I respect that.
And that's the thing. It's a respect thing. I look at him and I respect the heck out of it because really, as I said, imagine him not here this season. How much there's a few guys on this team. PD, they were able to, stay afloat. It wasn't great. But
For a little bit.
Yeah, imagine, because they did go on a run for a little bit without him. But imagine no JT Miller. What is this? Brady, I mean, you had your couple, posts on why he should be their third line center and the value of why he should be their third line center, of how you can carry that depth even further. Imagine that's not even an option at all. Imagine he's just not on the team. That's brutal.
I get the feeling watching. I mean, do you guys ever watch Any Given Sunday? The Al Pacino?
Yeah. I know someone who hasn't, but
I get probably Steve Fisher.
Yes.
I get the feeling watching Miller play and interact with his team that he's given that call, like that coaching room speech to his teams. Claw with your fingernails. You know what I mean? Grabbing guys by the scruff of the neck.
See a guy.
Like, he's that dude. Do you not get that feeling from watching him that he's that dude? Like, there's room for guys like that on teams. I know that there's people out there that are not intangible players, that they're all about analytics, but he is an analytics player. Plus, he has those intangibles.
He's championship Willie Beeman. he's seen the light Willie Beeman.
Yeah, he's music videos Willie Beeman.
No. He's seen the light Willie Beeman.
Yeah, he's leaving the Sharks.
Exactly.
Okay, I got one last question for you guys before we wrap things up.
Sure.
Okay, I have one for you after.
Okay, out of all the Canucks,
me too.
Who is not coming back next year?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
And this can include players that could be traded too.
Expansion draft obviously is possible. Oh man, can't pick Jake because that's not happening. He's not coming back. Oh boy, I think they find a way to. We forgot about Michael Furland.
Pick somebody real. Pick somebody who's been a participant on this team.
Brandon Sutter. Oh, you said a participant. Brandon Sutter.
You're gonna go with Sutter. You don't think Sutter's coming back? I'm gonna say Sutter is coming back. I don't want to say it. I hate that I am saying it, but I got a weird feeling he's coming back on a 1 year.
I'm gonna say, and this is reaching out there a little bit, but this team is gonna lose Tyler Myers.
Really? To the expansion draft?
I think it's probably going to be an expansion draft thing. I think they're going to make him available.
Not Antoine Marcel.
They're going to protect him.
And I am going with absolute weirdness here, right? Like,
okay.
We're going to the far reaches of Canucks space for this one, and I think it's going to be Tyler Myers. And this has to do with how little Braden Holtby has shown this season. It has more to do with Holtby not being the guy that the Kraken are going to claim, and Myers' improvement in this past season.
I was going to say, so the flip reason, Myers increased his value, whereas Holtby decreased value.
And this is reach, guys. Super big reach. But if I do get it right, I'm going to call it like I'm the man. So
he's 6'7", so that is a big reach.
Okay, who you got, B? Tell us what you know.
I mean,
that glimmer in your eyes. You like to ask these questions that you know the answers. You all
Luongo's cap hit. That would be the ultimate.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah,
I mean, I could see potentially Alex Edler not coming back. I think that'll be my pick.
I'm here for that too. Yeah.
Are we ready for that? Are you ready for it? I'm ready for it. And not in a bad way. I think they've had that opportunity. They did it with Oland. We all thought, or Salo as well. We all thought, I don't know. Let him go try to be a sixth defenseman somewhere on a championship team. I'd support that.
Oh, for sure. 100%.
Take him to Tampa. That's where they go. That's where they go.
Yeah.
It's written in stone. What was your question there, Ted?
So, B, I'll ask you this question because you've been a betting supporter over the years, more so than not, right?
Yeah, I have.
And I don't know where your needle is now. I'm not sure, but
that's a personal question, Ted.
It's where is Benning for you right now? It sounds like he's going to be back for another year. Is this the right man to lead this thing through what we're finally going to deem a rebuild?
No, 100%. No. I wasn't seeing clearly, obviously. I mean,
it took 2 years.
No. I mean,
the rain is gone.
The rain is gone. I'm seeing clearly, but there's still things that I do like about betting. But I mean, we're just at a point now where that he's lost his supporters. He's lost me. So, I mean, I just think it's time to move on. And and you know what? I'm glad to be wrong. It's okay. So
it's not wrong. I don't
think it's wrong.
I think we're all just sick that it's all this has happened and he's forced us to kind of now form the opinion like we're willing to give you an opportunity and you blew every single one of them.
Yeah, you know what?
He definitely has. There's been like over and over and over again. There's been just mistake after mistake after mistake, and it's too much at this point. So.
You guys have been together for a long time. I mean, you put a tremendous amount of effort into the relationship.
You almost put a ring on it too.
But you're just not right for each other, and that's okay.
No. Yeah.
So you're going to be selling the engagement ring on Facebook Marketplace now?
Yeah, I'll be selling it for a.
Don't you have to win to get a ring?
Oh well, he has a ring.
Oh, that's
he
true.
does. Jim Benning has a ring. How crazy is that?
Awkward.
I wonder how many choices he was making back then.
Oh, geez. So I've got some final news, and we'll shut her down. Today was my final Canucks Army post. I'm done. I called it a career. 8 years. I think I had the Ironman as close to Henrik Sedin as possible. I think I missed 2 games in 8 years. And I even did a few from Vegas while I was, damn right, slow clap. I'm very humble. No, it's Thomas Drance brought me in back in 2012. My first game was against the Leafs. So I got to write a pregame against the Leafs, which was rad. Again, rad counter. Ding. A lot of fun. Covered lots of stuff. Few playoff rounds. A lot of misery. A lot of just interesting storylines to get into. Going over how Louis Eriksson actually was a good player after his first season when he continued to prove that he wasn't after that. But the advanced stats said so at the time. But lots of fun, lots of great stuff, lots of great people. Quadrillion Faber doing a great job over there, as well as everybody else, but Quads is in charge. I just felt it was time I wanted to dedicate more time to this. Our show with Blundell, like we're growing over there. So I felt that our passion project is definitely now my new focus, and I'm going to definitely get a lot more sleep because, well, I don't have to type game days at 11:30 at night because I forgot as I was in bed. So there's a little bit of a silver lining there, but it will always be a great home. It was a lot of fun. It was great opportunity going from my Always 94 site and writing just random stuff. You guys know my brain, so everything comes out of that. But it was a lot of fun, and now I get to have a lot of fun over here full time. I think it's gonna be great. I'll probably write some stuff for Dean's website a little bit more. And just enjoy more of a break. Like Brady, like you said, I think time to take a breather.
Well, for sure.
This has been a lot of fun, and the playoff show on the Blundell Network is going to be gaining some steam. We had a really good first episode. There's going to be a lot of Leafs talk on there, a lot of Habs talk, and I get to come in there and rain on the parade. And if you guys want, so can you. So feel free to check me out in other places. But yeah, so that was kind of my news. It's focus on house stuff now, a little bit more family stuff, and you guys obviously as well. And growing our brand now. We're starting things. So yeah.
We're taking you full time. Army's gonna miss you, man.
Damn right they will.
I enjoy reading your stuff, so that hurts my heart a little bit, but from writer to writer, you gotta do what you gotta do, right? So no, good for you, man.
Yeah, something different. Change it up.
Yeah. sad times for Canucks Army. I mean, you're like Brady said, your stuff was great. I think you did a really good job of just like adding that Ryan Hank flavor to it, like you always seem to do. Funny little clips, the odd inside joke, deep dives into what's going on Twitter. I mean, I don't read pregame stuff because it's boring. But you made it fun to read, which was kind of cool. So they don't know. I mean, they know, I'm sure, what they're missing out on. And it's tough to write that. And the fact that you stuck it out to the end of the season and only missed a couple of games, Ryan, that's super admirable. And congratulations, buddy. That's a heck of a run.
Games of trying to figure out what to talk about on this team. At least on a post game, and I wrote a few of those too. At least on a post game, you can recap and just talk about the game that was. How do you think? Like, there'd be days, like I'd had one a couple weeks ago, the dog post, where everybody posted their dogs. My brain was absolutely empty. I'm like, you know what? People like dogs. And I got 175 dogs.
Okay, quick question.
Yeah.
I feel like all game day writers get this. How many times were you chirped about incorrect rosters when it had nothing to do with you?
So at the beginning, because we use Daily Face-Off, and that's part of the Nation Network, right?
Yeah, you're not saying what you think the rosters. Somebody's posted it, and you're reposting it. Essentially,
They will essentially, unless something official happened, you'll essentially get last night's roster, unless there's a new change. I didn't read the comments a lot, so I really didn't care on that. People can chirp me all they want. For all I know, I was the worst writer that's ever been on that site. I'll never really know. I think I've read a few. But yeah, people chirp all the time. And eventually I just realized, I'm like, why are we putting the lineups? We're not the one place people are going for. Like, Daily Face-Off has evolved a lot. It is a pretty cool site, and there's a bunch of other things that are involved in that. But I said to Quads, I'm like, why are we still putting the lineups in here? I said, people know where to find them. They're going to go to Face-Off. They're going to go on Twitter. They're going to see Batch. They're going to see Drance or whoever's posting them. Said, that's something like we don't need that extra. And I just decided, you're right, Ted. Like, there's so many people, because everybody is not like when Batch does the lines, right? You go, I don't tweet them. I tweet them in the order they come out. It doesn't mean those are the lines. And that was his thing, because we're ridiculous. Canucks Nation is ridiculous. Why is that guy on the second line? It's because that's when he skated out. That's it. That's the reason. There's no other reason. So yeah, it's a funny thing. Online Twitter and all that it's a beast. Brady, you know that too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
honestly, man. I'm in a similar boat as you right now. Like, I'm gonna take some time to kind of take a break. I'm in a bit of a break right now with school and everything. Decided to take the month just to kind of reflect on what I want to do. So we'll see what I'm doing in the future down the road here.
Good man.
Got some decisions to make.
Yeah, time to take a break, man. This has been a tough season. I mean,
It's been draining. It's been draining.
We all need it. So I'm excited. I'm getting that putting green. That's what I need to put my efforts in. So
Hank the Tank on the green.
You know it. I'll be posted with my
on
summer
the dance floor, baby. Woo!
Plans for a long weekend, guys?
Rain.
I'm stuck in Vancouver technically still, so
you're not gonna. You don't want to go down to Granville or anything like that, or head out, or what?
Oh, Granville.
We'll probably definitely get out of the house. We're gonna have
go
to
to
do
Stanley
some
Park,
sort of
maybe?
celebrating for being done school. It's my last day tomorrow, so that's pretty sweet.
Go find that rack.
But Riley's birthday is on the Tuesday, so I don't know. We're gonna maybe do some camping, but then she pulled her back out. So honestly, we're probably not gonna be doing too much. Maybe a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but
real nice.
Yeah.
Go weird really quick.
No, that's National Lampoons. That's Christmas Vacation.
Come on, keep up, Ryan.
Watch that. What's going on? Brady knew.
Whatever. Screw you guys. I hate you.
You know, when they're walking down the aisle or whatever, and they're shopping, and he tells cousin Eddie that he's going to lend him some money to buy the kids a few presents or whatever, and then he says, "That's great. I have a huge list, and I want you to pick something out for yourself and get yourself something real nice."
Nice, Dad.
Always there. Well, boys, this has been a lot of fun. We could just keep talking about absolutely nothing, but people are going to stop listening at some point. It's been a great week. Make sure that you check us out on our YouTube channel, which is doing really well. The PP1 versus Ballhawks did very well. We're getting a lot of comments on that.
You did very well in that.
Yeah, my dad bot killed it.
I'm still having nightmares about that.
So is everyone else that I know. So don't worry about it. You're not the only one.
So is Chris.
So is Chris. Yeah. Yeah. He's still having nightmares physically. That body just can't handle a race like that. Check us out on Twitter. Make sure to sign up for the Summer Skates promo, the 3-for-1. And we will be posting out, maybe we'll start it on Friday, our vote for which Summer Skate will win, which one will get produced. And maybe you'll win a pair too, because I think I got a few extra. Other than that, we've got Brady out in Burnaby. Great to have you. Ted, he's at the office. And myself, Ryan, always 94. Thank you for listening to episode 91, the Fedorov issue, which is kind of interesting because we did talk about the Detroit Red Wings and Yzerman. So it's interesting. That's a deep dive. I like that. On behalf of all of us, this is the PP1 Podcast. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Have a great evening. Peace out.
Much love, peeps.